So this is an introduction to Tailwind CSS. It's an utility-first CSS framework. It works by scanning all of your HTML files, JavaScript components, and other templates for class names, generating the corresponding styles, and then writing them to a static CSS file. It's fast, flexible, and reliable with zero runtime. So let's get into it quickly. Also, you also need to have Node.js installed in order for you to have npm. So npm is a package manager that I use to install Tailwind CSS. And once you have Node.js installed, you go to the official website and you get Node.js from there. So is npx tailwind css init, and you run the command. I'm not going to run the command because I already did that earlier. So after doing that, it initializes Tailwind CSS in your workspace. Now the next thing to do, now automatically Tailwind config.js is created. Now if you observe what I'm saying here, now by default you're not going to see this inside your Tailwind config file. Instead, you're going to find an empty bracket. So what this simply means is this is actually a regex expression. So this just tells Tailwind CSS, to access all HTML files within this folder. That's just what's going to happen. And this means that Tailwind CSS has access to all HTML files within this folder. And this is the one. I expect you to add this into your Tailwind config file. So the next thing after doing this is you create a styles.css. You can name it anything you want, not necessarily styles.css. So in this styles.css, you're basically going to have Tailwind base, Tailwind components, at Tailwind utilities. These are the core parts of Tailwind: the base, the components, and the utilities. So all these three needs to be in this file. So afterwards, the next thing to do would be to go to the command line. Then you do something like this: npx tailwind css I. Then I signifies input, and you want the styles.css to be the input, which will styles.css, then output, that is all. Then we can say tailwind.css. It is not compulsory to name the output file tailwind.css. For me, I prefer naming mine tailwind.css, so you can use whatever is convenient for you. And I add w. The reason I add this is because I want Tailwind to watch for any change in my HTML file and rebuild the CSS file. So that is why I put -w. It watches for any change. And when we run this command, we wait for a few seconds. So the Tailwind file has done building, and here's what we got. So I'm just going to, now I just created this HTML file, index2.html. So this file is just nothing right now. So the first thing to do is obviously to link the CSS file to it. So that's just going to be link, and that's going to be tailwind.css. And now let's just have a couple of elements. Let's just say an h1 element, and let's just say this is a Tailwind tutorial. So let's see what this is going to bring up for us. Alright, so I'm going to open this up live server, and a Tailwind tutorial. Now, by not say too much, let's just quickly jump into Tailwind. So Tailwind is very easy to use. It's just like writing inline CSS. It's similar, but let me just give you an example. So basically it's a class, and let's just give this, we start with font, I believe, sorry, text for XL, I believe, text for XL, and as you can see, the text is bigger, and now text for XL. So let's see what text for XL actually is. You can see if you hover it, this is, I can view this because of the Tailwind CSS extension, which I have installed. So I recommend you have it also on your system. So here we see font size 2.25 rem, line height 2.5 rem. So now if you go into the Tailwind CSS file, I believe we'll find text for itself. I believe we should find it somewhere here. Right, so here it is, text font size 2.25 rem, and automatically it's already applied in. Now this is kind of, well, not bold, so let's just assume we want to make this bold, or we just need to do a space, and we can just say font and just make it maybe extra bold, and there it is. It's bolder than it is. And let's say we want to make it center. So yeah, I figured I was wrong, sorry. We should have used text center. So text center aligns the text to the center of the page. So one more thing, let's just maybe create a div, and let's give the div, okay, so let's give the div container. Let's give it, now we want to give it the background color. So okay, let's give it a height first. So we can just say h, and I think h, let's just use h24, w24 as well, and let's give it background color of red, and let's just make it red 600, and yep, and let's make this centered. So yes, okay, centered now. As you can see, let's say we want to give it a bit of margin. We can just say MT, that is margin top. Then margin top maybe 10. A bit of space between. Something's wrong. Okay, margin top. Okay, margin top 10. Let's say this is a Tailwind tutorial, it's too close up. Let's give it a bit of margin as well. So MT 10 as well, and you know, there's a bit of space already. So okay, so maybe we want to give it a bit of padding. There are a lot of things we can do. So look out for part 2, where we'll be building a small project based on Tailwind and just HTML. And yeah, so like, share, and subscribe, and watch out for part 2. Yeah, thanks for watching. Cheers.